Oops.
What's with you and the Fud Muffin? You got a problem with Fud Muffins?
They're Fud muffins. It's like a stud muffin, but with Fud muffin.
Yeah, you got a problem with me, Dan? I'm always hearing you talk about us Fud Muffins, and I want to tell you on the air that it's not fair what you're saying about us.
The Cardano Army presents What's Cooking? Featuring special guest host, Hosky, and Daniel Friedman. And now here he is, your host, Chef Theodore.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to What's Cooking. This is Chef Theodore, and today we have with us, of course, Justin and Mike from the Cardano Army. And we also have a special co-host, Hosky. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
So nice to have you on. And of course, our special guest tonight is Mr. Daniel Friedman. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for torturing me every day with those delicious food porn. Thanks for that. I am on a diet forever and ever because I look at a food wrong and I gain 15 pounds. But thanks for being my enabler. Thanks, Chef.
I am doing my best to keep you motivated as much as I can.
Well, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's our pleasure, sir. It's an honor to have you on. So I just want to start with a little bit of a background of yours, just to give the audience a really quick review of who Daniel Friedman is. So you were born in Ukraine, minority of Jew people. After the Holocaust, you got lynched every day from second to fifth grade until you had to change schools. Late 80s, early 90s, it was a nuclear incident and you had to move from Kiev to Moscow to your dad's mom. You attempted, please go ahead, yes.
No. Chernobyl, that was 86.
Chernobyl, yes.
Yeah, that was 86. Yeah, we had to, evacuate to Moscow for 3 months because it was a little radioactive where we were.
Bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah. Just a little bit, just a touch, yes. And yes, in order to migrate, you had to have a relative. You had the relative in Israel that had to make a petition, just to get you out of the country, and then you find yourself in California working in the filming industry. How was that? How was that experience of yours?
Well, okay, so just to kind of align things. So yes. Evacuating from Kiev, that was only for 3 months, right? So we went back for 3 months.
Ooh.
But we eventually immigrated from the USSR to the US back in '89, and that was where we needed to have, as once in a while they would open the doors, the proverbial doors, the gates, for ethnic people like us, mostly Jews, to go back to their homeland. And the Soviet Union and the government was just so progressive. It wasn't. I'm kidding. And so the waves of immigrants, the one before that was back in the late 70s. So there's a lot of Russians that came to the US in the late 70s. And then the next wave was basically 87 till 90, I believe. So that was the second wave. And so they would allow people to leave the country because you couldn't really leave the country like you can in, normal country. I mean, they literally don't let you out. And if they do let you out, it's usually have to have a visa, and it's also, and you have liaisons with you, or had liaisons with you, which were actually KGB agents, to keep people affecting. So yeah, we immigrated, and we first went to Philadelphia, and I was in Philadelphia for 14 years, I think. So basically 89 till 2003. I think it was 2003 when I moved to Los Angeles. Yeah, and so I moved to LA. Spent first couple of years just being drunk, like usually do in Los Angeles. And then I decided that, I was going to pursue the creative side, and started studying directing, acting, because at that point I was kind of past my first phase of IT, because I was in IT since I was 19. And, it gets to you after a while. You kind of want to be like, okay, what else is out there, right? And I was still in IT, but in parallel, I was doing more creative stuff, because my grandfather was an actor. He was a professional actor. That was what he did. He worked in the theater. He was in a couple of movies, but it was really difficult to get into movies in the Soviet Union. And he mostly did theater, and then he was in a puppet theater, a really famous puppet theater for I think 40 years. So he was a professional puppeteer. So my mother's side of the family is all creative. So but I always followed my father's side, because my father is the IT guy. He's in IT for as long as I know. Back in the Soviet Union, he was also in IT. And so I started exploring it. I first tried acting. I did some things. If you're really bored, I can send you a couple of independent movies I was in. No nudity. Okay, it was.
Are you sure about that?
Just one name. We got to have one name there for the hardcore fans.
Okay, so the one so they changed the name since I was in it, but the original name was Vardel Dusseldorfer the Great VD, and it was a comedy. And I think I forgot what it was now. What is it called? Oh yeah, it's The Expendables. That's it, like The Expendables, but The Expendables, or no, The Expendables. No, I'm sorry. The Expendables.
Expendables was Stallone.
Yes, the Expendables. So it's called The Expendables, and it was put together by a friend of mine. His name is Brian Thompson, who you might actually have. He's a pretty popular character actor. He was in Terminator. He was in the X-Files. He was in Cobra, actually a Stallone movie, Cobra. I don't know if you guys remember that movie from the 80s. Yeah, he's the bad guy in that. He's a night slasher.
Oh damn.
He in that movie, yeah. A very good friend of mine. One of the sweetest guys, I know, but he always plays villains, which is hilarious. In real life, he's like the nicest guy that you'll ever meet. Really generous. I barbecued with the guy. I stayed at his house many times. And yeah, he put together this movie because he was he had a lot of experience working with action stars. He worked with Stallone. He worked with Van Damme. And a lot of the stuff in this movie is actually his stories from working on the set with these big stars, with Van Damme, with Stallone, with Arnold, with all these guys, So yeah, he's a combination. So Vardel Dusseldorfer, he's an action star that is making a movie in some Eastern European country. And, it's at a point where he's already kind of, past his prime. And so it's a day. It shows the entire production of the movie and what happens and all these different antics. It won. It was a fun movie to shoot. I got to play a Russian mobster in it. I only spoke Russian. I only spoke Russian the entire movie. I ad-libbed the entire movie. And actually, originally I was supposed to have like one scene or a half a scene or something like that, and literally like one appearance, but everybody kept cracking up with the stuff that I was doing. So I'm in a lot of that movie. I ended up being in a lot of that movie, just kind of talking smack.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So if you guys are bored, and you want multi-sig or Should I send you an NFT of my? I'll send you an NFT of my autograph.
There
That's
we go.
what I was
I'll
gonna
take that.
say.
What's the floor on
Yeah,
those though? I don't know.
That's a lot more blockchainy. It's a lot more
1 to 1.
blockchainy. Just yeah. It's like it's a 10K drop, but there's like one. It's one drop.
So it's a
Just be the
fungible
one.
token.
Yeah, it's just one. There's only one. It kind of sounds like Japanglish, because in Japan you have a lot of Japanglish. They don't check speakers a lot of times, so you get a lot of gibberish out there. And there's this one college by me, and I think it's a trade school. It's not even really like a full blown college, but their advertisement is like only one campus. Like, okay, is that a good thing? Like, we have no locations. We don't believe in multiple locations. Only one campus. Only one. That's it. One.
One location, one stake pool.
Yeah. They're a single campus operator.
There you go.
Multi-campus operator. They're not an MCO. They're an SCO. That's actually like another blockchain thing. So anyway, yeah. So so end of finite, as they say in French.
So after California, you went. You found yourself in Osaka, and that was all because of a dream, of an epiphany, and a movie.
Yeah. And this is so wait a second. What is the rating show? Is it like PG-13, R?
Pre-recorded. We can beep it out later. Depends on how bad it is.
Okay.
If you get wild,
So
man, we might.
Look, I swear a lot. Okay, you see my stuff on Twitter.
I
abbreviate it. Yeah. Well, okay. What that actually isn't bullshit. That's real. So I was at a point in LA. I came out to LA to kind of find myself, and I did for a while. But after a while,
you came to LA to what? You broke up for a second.
I got for what? What did you call me?
What'd you go to LA for?
Just to find myself, like see who I was, the new Jen Brady, that whole thing, that's a reference that most people won't understand. I know it's from the Brady Bunch. How old are you people? You don't know the Brady Bunch.
I'll sing.
Well, you know the song. you know the song. You don't.
I know Martha and Jan, and don't make me Brady Bunch. All right, I'm not that young.
Yeah. Look, okay. I made a reference to this to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in the last episode of the Ergo Pulse, and people looked at me like, the what?
They looked at you like dopey. They looked at you like a bunch of dopies.
No, it was something else. I was like I was talking about mining, and I said it was not like mining. Hi ho, hi ho. It's off to work we go, and people just didn't get it. Like the what? Like, oh my god, really? You don't know you don't know that, really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really? God, I'm not that old. I'm only 44. I mean, I'm not like 144. Anyway, so yeah, going back to my previous tangent. So I came out to LA to find myself because I was in the same things for as long as I remember. I was always doing programming and IT stuff. Even back in the Soviet Union, when I didn't have a computer, I would write programs in BASIC and C on paper. And my father had a computer at work, and he would just, I would write it down, and he would punch it into the computer and bring me a readout to see what the results were. So basically to show that my program ran and the output was this and this and this, and so that I knew that the program worked. Wow. So I did that since I was probably like 10. And so I ended up around 25 years old. I came out to LA originally for a business trip. and just kind of, got sucked in into the whole thing. Like, cool out here, you got all this different crazy stuff going on, the Star Trek shit and stuff. I'm into Star Trek. I'm a Star Trek guy.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say.
My first, not my first trip, but the one that kind of got me to want to come to Los Angeles was actually to a Star Trek convention. It was the 20th anniversary of TNG, I think. Yeah, it was something like, it was the 20th anniversary or the 15th anniversary or something like that of The Next Generation airing.
That's my one.
Yeah. So it's like 2002, right? Yeah, that's about
Picard's
right.
my captain.
Yeah,
hands down.
Yeah, Picard, right? And actually, I got to meet him at that convention, and I got to meet everybody except for Jonathan Frakes, Riker,
number one,
and number one. And who else wasn't there? There was another, and there was somebody else that wasn't there. It was Riker and was somebody else. I forgot. Anyway, another Enterprise crew member. But it was a convention because Leonard Nimoy was there, Carrie Fisher was there, and actually Leonard Nimoy French kissed Carrie Fisher on stage, which was kind of weird.
What a thing to see!
It was just kind of like,
That's before they got old, right?
They've always been old. They were born old. They're like Wilford Brimley, they were never young. They're born looking 50. No, Leonard Nimoy was in his 60s or something like that. And I met Will Shatner and another one. So it was, just kind of felt like, hey, this is cool. I like to live around here, because you got all these Star Trek things going on, and the film industry is here, and so I came out there because it just kind of felt a little bit more alive, and so I stayed there and kind of got myself into the whole acting and directing and the performance thing. But that had its peak, it had it went up, and I had my own studio for a while. But it's a pretty. I love the creative aspect of it. The business aspect of it is just pure shit. I mean, it is just these people are assholes. A lot of them for an industry that is seemingly supposed to be so progressive, and so equal progressive. I mean, it's just a cesspool of bullshit. I'm telling you, it's so much. So much discrimination and just toxicity around there, a lot of cultivism and just not, bad taste in your, you would think that why do so many people walk away from seemingly really, good careers? And it's kind of like you don't want to meet your heroes. This is the same concept. You don't want to meet your heroes because the magic is lost. I met a few of my, and I met a lot of celebrities, and I met a few of my, favorite people that are favorite complete assholes. It's just I'm like, oh God, man. Now I can't watch this guy on screen because I know he's a complete asshole in real life. It's all lost. And then there's some people that are amazing and even more amazing. The one thing, it's actually a thing between me and Charles that we were doing for a while, because Charles is like, I met this guy. I'm like, yeah, well, I met Stan Lee. He's like, okay, all right.
Got him.
Wow.
Yeah, I met Stan Lee. It is a checkmate. I met Stan Lee at the Daredevil premiere, that really, really shitty Ben Affleck Daredevil movie.
Come on, not that shitty. Come on, Bullseye with the he got him with the paper clips.
Come on. It was
bad.
Mediocre.
No, it was really bad.
If I may say one thing to that. So because I work in the filming industry as well, I'm cooking. I'm a chef there, but I've seen everything behind the cameras and everything else, it was definitely a very bad movie.
You were there for Daredevil?
You could tell whatever it was happening, like me seeing everything behind the camera, I could tell exactly what was going on, and I'm calling it bullshit. Yeah, it wasn't that
so
great.
What you're saying is the only good thing about the movie was the food, or at least what the actors were eating.
Thank you. Yes.
The food is good. The food was good. I was at the Hollywood premiere of that, and they actually did the whole Sony backlot, outfitted it like different city blocks, like New York, Paris, LA. The LA was just like a bunch of drunk homeless people. All these different places, and Tokyo and all these different places had their own food stands. So New York had pizza, and Japan, of course, had sushi, because that's the only thing we have in Japan is sushi. We have no other food in Japan.
Oh yes.
And France was frogs. No. No. That wasn't it. Like nobody likes like silence. That wasn't cool, Dan.
Snails.
Snails. That's
delicious.
Well, isn't frogs feet a French thing as well? Frogs feet?
No? Yeah, frog legs. I've had them. Delicious.
Frog legs. Yeah, that's it. Frog legs.
Little salt and pepper. Not wrong with that.
It's a Southwest, like American thing, not a French thing.
It's definitely an American thing.
Yeah.
Louisiana is big on frog legs. So
I am in a Chinese place.
I can say that I've tried them. It tasted like chicken.
Chicken, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then that spoils chicken for you, because you're like, that tastes like frog.
Definitely does now.
It goes both ways. It goes both ways. It's like, oh God, chicken tastes like frog. I didn't realize that. Yeah. Yeah. So Stan Lee. He was at the premiere because it's a Marvel comic, and I've met a lot of celebrities before him, and I was never like starstruck. I met Bruce Willis, I met Arnold, I met like all these big guys, and I was never starstruck. But Sean Penn, I met that guy, and that's a story for another time. But Stan Lee, I was literally like, I was doing the whole Wayne's World. I was like, I'm not worthy, I'm scum. And I just started like right away talking to him about comic books, because I used to love collecting comic books. I still have a comic book collection somewhere at my mom's house in New Jersey. And this guy just didn't skip a beat, and he just starts talking to comic books with me. It's like knows like, okay, yeah, you can kiss the ring. Like, no. This guy was just totally engaged, genuine. Was like, oh yeah, I remember that one. That's the one with the blah 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 blah. You know what we did with that one? It actually was supposed to be this, and it's like, this is the greatest day of my life. Stan Lee acknowledged my existence and talked comic books with me. And yeah, I'm telling you, like I will forever have a connection with that guy. That one time that I got to meet him was just like such a profoundly satisfying experience for somebody been just a huge fan of comic books from my early teens.
What's your favorite?
Somebody like that. You know what? It's funny because my first comic book was actually Marvel's RoboCop.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it came out back in, I think, like late 80s, early 90s. And what was the guy? Rob. He's the same guy that drew that actually drew Deadpool. Rob.
Anyway. About Rob Liefeld?
Yeah, Liefeld. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. And so he drew that comic book. He also drew a couple of issues of Spider-Man that were really popular at that point, like in 90, 91. There was there were a few issues of the Amazing Spider-Man that was like the first when they just started making these like gold issue, silver issue, regular issue, for collectibles. Because before that, they were not really that big into that kind of stuff, But around like 1990, they started doing that. Right. And so he was actually the one that illustrated that, and the Silver Amazing Spider-Man, I forgot which number it was like a big deal back then. And so yeah, I started with RoboCop, and then I moved to Spider-Man. Then I was also into the X-Men, and actually into the G.I. Joe comic, because G.I. Joe, the comic book, was actually a lot more like bloody than the cartoon. It was actually like a lot more like hardcore. I mean, people got killed, like literally people did get killed in that comic book. I remember like the first issue was I got it in this so I don't know if you remember KB Toys, right? And KB Toys, they went out of business years ago. And when when they started going out of business, all these stores started, and they would clear out their old stock. And so once in a while they would pull stuff out that was literally shit from like the 80s, they had in the stock room. And so I bought, this is like 93, 94. I bought a stack of comic books, the like the ones that came like 5 comic books in a value pack from like 1986 or 1987, right? And I bought it for the original price of like $2.99. And even at that time, each one of those comic books was worth like 30 or 40 bucks. And I still have them, but. And one of the comic books was one of the first editions of the G.I. Joe, the one that was made from the animated show. And I remember reading, I'm like, oh, G.I. Joe. And I used to love the animated show, right? I would watch it, G.I. Joe, that one.
Oh, yeah.
And I read the comic book, and it's like about this general visiting the G.I. Joe headquarters, and then like Cobra infiltrating the headquarters, and then like throw a grenade, and this guy like throws himself on the grenade and blows up. I'm like, holy shit. Like, this is G.I. Joe, really? Did the guy just get blown up by a grenade? Like, yeah. Like, whoa. This is not the G.I. Joe I remember from Saturday morning cartoons. Like, this is crazy. Yeah. So yeah, I just kind of went down the rabbit hole with comic books. And, at that point, I mean, just meeting Stan Lee, it was like, amazing. I can't explain it to you, but yeah, that my experience in LA with movies, it was, and with the industry, there were some good moments. There were a lot more bad moments. And that is why I kind of eventually broke me, right? Because I went back to IT. And I was still doing my own consulting, but I was also working for Honda. And so I went back to Honda, and I was a pretty I had a pretty good job at Honda, and I stayed there. I mean, it was like the Torrance headquarters, so it was like Honda of America, the main headquarters. Yeah. So you got, you have different perks there, and the space shuttle flew over the headquarters and all that stuff, so it was a pretty cool place to work. I just looked at it and I was like, you know what? And I was talking to the managers, the mid-level managers, and, the guys that like supposed to be made it, and I was like, oh yeah. I worked here for 10 years and I'm making like, and he told me the salary, and I'm like, that's it? Really? Mm-hmm. That kind of sucked, actually, that you worked here for 10 years and you're making that much. I was making that much 10 years ago. Like, now I kind of slowed it down, and so I kind of fell out. So I had to re-enter the workforce at a lower rate and then got back up. But like, you put in 10 years in this company. And I mean, yeah, you are a manager and you get all these perks with interest-free car loans and all this. You get a lot of perks working at Honda. They give you insurance. They give you mortgages. I mean, it's a nice place to work, but their salaries were just not competitive. And really, I mean, what is my ambition there? I mean, what am I going to be, this guy? Like, I don't want to be this guy. I mean, this guy is going to be like, he's going to have a nice middle-class life. And there's nothing wrong with the middle class, but
not even that guy today. He's probably making an extra 3% than when you know him. He's probably making
that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Yeah. So I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, I mean, there's nothing wrong if you want to choose that for yourself. I don't want to choose that for myself. And so I just said, screw it. And I just kind of started to lose my kind of neutral balance at that point. And I'm a big movie person, as I said. And so one of my favorite movies is this movie with, again, from the late 80s with Michael Douglas and Andy Garcia called Black Rain.
Black Rain.
And Ridley Scott movie. It was part of this spiritual trilogy that he had. The first one was Blade Runner. Then you have Black Rain, and then someone to watch over me. And I just got into one of those things where I would watch that movie a lot. And so, and it's just something about that movie that I don't know, I just really kind of kept me in a good place. So I started thinking, I'm like, you know what, I got to shake things up. And so one day I go to bed and I have this dream about that I'm in Japan and I'm visiting I'm visiting like a synagogue in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
The Jewish place, people knew what to do. And so then and it was like a really vivid, really profound, and so I wake up and I'm like, and I just keep thinking Osaka, like really? And I started looking at Osaka and I didn't even realize that Black Rain was about Osaka. Like, yeah. I didn't realize that. I never actually paid attention to that. And I thought that it was like here in Osaka, and I'm like, I just feel like I'm here. And so I started researching it, and they said, you know what, something about this place is really calling to me. And so, yeah, I eventually, and I think like 2 months after, I was on the ground in Osaka. Wow. Folded everything up, quit my job, sold my stuff, moved. And here I am.
That's quite a jump to make over a dream, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Had it been bad pizza, that could have turned out bad.
It was probably bad Korean food because I was living next to Koreatown, but same concept.
Hey, it got you to a good place. That's all that matters.
Yeah. No, it got me. And at first, actually, my father completely, he was completely freaked out by that. And I can understand why. I mean, I'm a father myself now, so I understand why he would be freaked out. Son decided to move literally halfway across the world. But then he really pretty quickly went back and just said, you know what, I was wrong. This is the place where you got to be. Because he saw that as soon as I moved to Japan, things just started to pick up for me, and I was in the right place. And it wasn't even about specifically the place itself. It was about my mental state and just kind of being in a place where I felt like I had more opportunity to grow. And it was almost like starting from scratch, literally starting from scratch. I moved here. I didn't know any Japanese. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have a job. Well, I mean, I had a job, but it was like remote consulting, and it was a contract, so it was going to end. And I had a limited amount of money and living in a guest house at whatever, like 34. And just kind of flipped things on its head. And, fast forward almost 10 years, and here I am, married with a kid, have a house, have, notoriety of somewhat, even though it's on Twitter. And it's not good because people just kind of think about me like somewhat interesting and somewhat unhinged, like right there in the middle.
You can't listen to what Hosky says to you on Twitter. Don't feel bad.
It's infamy is also a thing, so you can become infamous. That there's nothing wrong with being infamous.
Yeah, but then you have to be a meme, and if I'm a meme, I don't know. You can't be a meme of yourself, though.
So would you rather be the fud muffin token?
Well, I don't
love
know.
your tweets. Every day I'm laughing my ass off. Oops.
What's with you and the Fud muffin? You got a problem with Fud muffins?
They're Fud muffins. It's like a stud muffin, but with Fud muffin.
Yeah, you got a problem with me, Dan? I'm always hearing you talk about us Fud muffins, and I want to tell you on the air that it's not fair what you're saying about us. I saw you send a tweet out today that said, one of the most hilarious Fud muffin tantrums I've ever seen is calling for Ada to go to 0. Seriously, the only thing I see progressively going to 0 is the combined IQ of the Fud Muffin Knuckle Dragger gang. You said that, Dan. What's your problem with Fud Muffin?
This could make more sense than the actual Fud Muffins on Twitter.
Wait a second. So I didn't know that Fud Muffins were also voiceover for Alvin and the Chipmunks. Can you sing We're the Chipmunks? Alvin, Simon, Theodore. Can you do that?
Only if you say, Alvin, Alvin. No, but seriously, Dan, can you maybe talk more about the price action? Maybe give me some Fibonacci retrace targets for Cardano and Ergo. Just would be nice to see. That's all.
Well, so we're seeing quite a bit of Fibonacci retracement at this particular point. Now, if the 30-day moving average falls under 200 of the 200-day moving average, and word salad.
Tell us about the MACD, Dan. The MACD.
Yeah. That guy too. And so 1.8 is going to be worth 1 ADA, and then Hosky going to be worth 0. I would say it's worth 0, but that's all screwed up now, man. That you're not worth 0 anymore.
So
I can actually buy like
you are now a Fud Muffin. You are the Hosky Fud Muffin right now. Stop it.
Look, I can go to the Mexican exchange that you're on right now, and I can just I can sell all my Hosky, which I don't have at all, because why would I? And I can buy McDonald's, and not just a Happy Meal too. So what are you gonna say about that?
The Mexican exchange should be used to buy tacos, not McDonald's.
Exactly. Yeah, but you can't. We don't have tacos here. Well, we do, but they're expensive. Actually, there's only one place that's actually run by a real Mexican, not one of those pretend Japanese Mexicans that put like soy sauce in tacos and stuff. Not that.
Oh wow. That's painful. That was painful, man. You killed me right now.
So the chef.
What are you saying?
So, chef.
Pixar or never happen. Soy sauce in a taco. I want to see that.
Listen. Okay, there's all these people that might have not been to Japan, or maybe been to Japan once, or just love Japan, but don't really know darker Japan. All say that, Japanese food is amazing, and oh my God, how it must be heaven and stuff like that. Well, first of all, try eating white rice with every freaking meal for 10 years. Okay, try that. Try that.
No. That's not
white rice all the time. There's white rice with everything.
Did you like it when you got there?
It's like,
did you really enjoy it on your way there? Were you like, "Oh, this is the best white rice I ever had," and then it wore off, or what?
It's freaking rice, man. It's like eating food rations. You just fill up your belly, but it's like you're eating nothing. It's like I'm eating moist nothing and grain and little bits of. Listen.
Hold on. So
okay, I'll just tell you something.
And you love it, and you're going on a rant against rice.
I'll just tell you something. Okay,
try from Japan, starting on white rice.
Hold on. Okay, you try a mochi fish and marshmallow pizza, and then not throw up. Okay, try that.
What? No.
With mentaiko on it. They put mentaiko on it. There's no freaking cheese on it, man. How is it a pizza? There's no cheese. There's no sauce.
Why do you
it's
call
just
it
bread
pizza?
with shit.
Why do you call it pizza? Why do they call it pizza? Can they just
I
say?
don't know why they call it pizza.
Can they just
I'm a
say?
hardcore Sicilian in the middle of New York City right now. I'm very angry. I'm very upset. Yep, my blood's boiling a little bit. I'm starting to do this.
Listen. You know what else you should be upset about? You know how much a pizza pie costs from, let's say, Domino's?
How much?
Guess how much?
In US dollar or in ADA? I'm gonna say it should cost about 16 ADA. 16 ADA about.
In Hosky. How much does it cost in Hosky?
Nothing.
Billions,
Hosky's
billions.
useless.
I mean,
Well,
yeah.
if we're talking US dollars, you can get the $6.99 deal.
That's what I was gonna say. I didn't want to be the Domino's nerd, but yeah, they actually do good deals over there. I'm not gonna lie.
$25.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Where you're at in Japan?
$25 for a fucking pizza. $25
Mhm.
for
Is
a
that a
pizza,
pizza?
from
Is it a
Domino's.
pizza? Is it a pizza? When you
It's sort
when
of
it
a
comes
pizza,
home,
like it's-
is it pizza?
It's the same Domino's.
Well, I
It's
mean-
the cardboard probably. They put.
You
the
said your
cardboard
parents
and
are
the
in
fake
Jersey.
stuff.
You know pizza. You know what pizza is.
I know pizza. That's why this is just horrible. It's torture. Okay, it's torture. I mean, you know, they ask you if you'd like marshmallows on your pizza. I'm like, marshmallows? What am I, the fucking Ninja Turtles? I'm gonna have marshmallows on my pizza? Come on. It's just horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, let's not talk about it.
So
What
gonna talk
food
about
do
it.
you
You're gonna
like
talk
in
about
all
it.
Japan? You don't like white rice. You don't like anything. What do you like in Japan?
What
do
is
you
your
eat?
favorite food? What is your favorite food in Japan? Just tell us
McDonald's.
Oh no.
all right, so
I'll-
this is the
I'll take
YouTube
it.
clickbait thumbnail title of this video is
Daniel
Dan
hates all
Friedman
food.
hates Japanese food. He hates all the food in Japan.
No. Do
No,
not put,
no.
You
Like,
don't put food.
don't
you
get
don't
me
put
wrong.
food. You just put Daniel Friedman hates Japanese. Come on, guys.
That's why Hosky doesn't run our YouTube account.
No, you guys, you just this is just this was an ambush, wasn't it?
100%.
This is not a real. This is an ambush.
We got you.
God.
We officially got you. You said you hated white rice. We didn't even ask you if you liked white rice or not. You know?
Listen. There's a good Japanese food out there, okay? But I'll just tell you, I will eat bread instead of white rice. Okay, any day. I want bread.
Mhm.
I don't want steak and white rice. I want steak and bread. Give me freaking bread. Give me potatoes. I'm a Russian Jew. We like our staple is potatoes and bread.
Yeah.
Bread and potatoes. We make bread and
Exactly.
potatoes. Like everything is bread and potatoes. It's like
You guys got
know,
the best bagels in
ice
New
cream,
York.
Bread and potatoes.
Several different spots. You guys got the best bagels in New York.
The bagels, it's like we do bread and potatoes. Just
Mhm.
that's what we do, and pickle stuff. And then my wife, she hates pickles, and I mean we're still married though, but she hates pickles. I love pickles. I mean, I'm a Russian Jew. I love pickles. We all love pickles. If you don't like pickles, you get kicked out of the Russian Jews.
I was
Get
gonna
kicked
say
out.
you better love pickles. Yes, you better love pickles.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like you just go. Okay, Russian Jews. Your mother has to be dominating. Your mother has to be dominating. You have to probably live at home for into your 20s.
or
And
30s.
okay, well, in New York is the 30s. In New York,
Yeah.
and in some
And
places
confirm.
it's the 20s, but also in New York it has to do with the whole house situation. It's like you
Yeah.
look at an apartment funny, and it's like $2,000 a month.
Yep. I'm in Staten Island. You're just supposed to wait till your parents are dead, and then you just get their house. That's how it works over here.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, I don't know what happened to the lady that lived in a nice apartment, a nice rent control apartment. She just, slipped in a banana, hit herself in the head twice. I don't know what happened. She threw herself out the window twice. I don't know. It's just and she just happened to put my name on her will. I just met her, but she's really nice.
Now I have this
Was really
awesome
nice.
apartment now.
This
She
is
got
crazy.
Hillary.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, rent control. It's the greatest thing.
Mr. Daniel, I'm just gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit, so we can get to the nice questions. I mean, not nice, but switch gears.
You mean the
and
nice,
get it.
excellent ones that our writer actually wrote out, and now
Yes.
it's just hanging out with Daniel, having a grand old time.
Chef, that was
Yeah,
an
right.
award,
Like,
that was
okay.
an award-winning segue there. That was
Shut
the best
up. We have a
segue.
show to do.
That
Shut
was
up.
the best
we have a show to
segue of
do.
all time.
Don't worry. We're gonna cut everything so far. Okay. So
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
you're
the
gonna hit
show's starting
record.
right
Hit
now.
record. Hit record.
okay. So you were one of the earliest IOHK back then, IOG now employees. I believe the first project manager that got hired from a Skype call with Charles. Please tell us a little bit about your journey. Day number 1 till now. Tell us about your experience and if you would do that again.
Sure. So, so at that point, I was working at a company in Osaka. I was the CTO of the company. It was a small company, like 30 people, something like that. And I just, again, felt like I was not reaching people there. There was a lot of friction in the past year or so about how things are done, and it was really simple things like code management, like roadmaps. I mean, things that actually like they yell at you at IOHK for not doing.
Mhm.
And here I would get yelled at because I told them to do it. I said, use GitHub. We don't use GitHub. Like, so you're going to hand merge a whole bunch of code? Yeah. No, use source code management. What the hell are you talking about? These are some of the battles that I had. So,
yeah.
And being an executive, but still an outsider, it was a little difficult, to really have full authority over things. And so Charles's former business partner, Jeremy Wood, he lived in Osaka. He used to live in Osaka, and I actually knew him through a friend. And so they were talking about, and so I just talked to my friend, and I said, "Look, I gotta find something else. This is just not doing it for me anymore. I need to expand my horizons." And so he says, "Well, talk to Jeremy. They're looking to they're just starting up, and they're looking for a project manager." I was like, "Well, project manager, shit, man. I'm an executive. I'd like to have another executive job." He says, "Okay, we'll just check them out." And so I go, I set up a call with Jeremy, and so I set up an interview. I go in a nice suit and tie and everything, and they show up at the office, and it's a share space, and Jeremy shows up in cargo shorts and ripped t-shirt.
Oh wow.
And I'm just like, yeah, so but I mean he was on the level, right? So he was cool, but I was just like, I feel overdressed for this.
Yeah.
I'm wearing this nice blue suit, I'm wearing a tie, I'm all groomed and everything, and then here's Jeremy, and I don't think he's wearing socks. And but he interviews me, and so I'm like, okay, but I hear some really good things about the company from a couple of friends. At that point, it was small, a couple of people. Nobody really knew who IOHK was, because this was back in 2016, and literally like half a year after Charles had the idea for Cardano. And so I then set up, they set up a couple of interviews for me, a technical interview, and then I have a call with Charles. And when I had the call with Charles, we had the Skype call, and it lasted for over an hour. And we just started talking. And at that point, I already had, and I do have a pretty good bullshit-o-meter. I can tell if somebody's full of crap, if somebody's just selling me bridges. Mm-hmm. And usually when people give you these lofty, big visions about, we're going to change the world, we're going to divide and conquer, we're going to be number one, we're the Duke of New York, right? Number one. red flags go off, and I'm like, oh god, okay, here we go again with another. We're gonna make $1 million in a month
Because you can't
thing.
bullshit a bullshitter. That's what they say.
Exactly. And I'm like the king of bullshit. You know,
Mhm.
I'll
Bullshitter.
you know, just yeah. It's like the thing from Tommy Boy. You know, I can sell a ketchup popsicle to women in white gloves.
He was a
you
bridge
know,
salesman
I
before
live
this.
for that. I live for this shit, you know. And so Charles has this interview with me, and I'm just like, why is my bullshit meter going on off? Because he's talking about this really lofty idea about this vision about how we're gonna be like 100 people a year, and there's like 5 people. What are you talking about? 100 people? There's 5 people, including you and partner. And but then I'm thinking, I'm like, it's just none of this is actually setting off any red flags. He sounds genuine. He sounds like he really, because I can also tell if somebody's a visionary, like somebody actually is a genuine visionary that can do something, because it's just that you can read people. You can tell a lot of times, if they have done it already and if they know how to do it. And if the vision is, even if the vision is big, you see that they know how to do it by the way they express themselves. So it's not just like, oh, we're going to rule the world. Cardano #1, ADA to $50,000. And even at that point, he said ADA. And I'm like, ADA, you mean like the military programming language from the 70s? That ADA? Like, yeah, that one. Yeah. Because my dad used to read books about it. I read a book about it back in the 80s because my dad had that book. Because ADA was a military programming language in the U.S. And so we really hit it off. And so after a little while, they, about 2 weeks later, they came back to me and they said, "Hey, Dan, we'd like to come in and work for us." Okay, cool. And again, this is me moving from a company with an actual office. We had an office, at the Japanese company had an office. You go there, you do office stuff, to a share space in Homachi, which is kind of like, not the most prestige area. I mean, it's not bad. It's just a business, business district mostly. And so, I go there, and the first day, I dress up, and I like wearing, wearing nice clothes to work. It just kind of makes me concentrate better. I wear like a suit and a nice shirt and everything. And then, the couple of the guys that are working there, they all come in there and like shorts and t-shirts. I'm like, oh shit, man, I've been through this back in 2000. This was like the .com boom where everybody came in to work in a robe. Like, oh, come on, man. I thought I grew out of this. We're adults. We dress for work. But after a while, I'm just like, we're doing stuff. So who gives a shit? Who cares? I mean, if they want to buck naked, I'm just like, don't, just do it next to me. Don't do it. Put a towel over the seat or something, Yeah. And so, we kind of hit it off. I hit it off with the team. They had me manage the pre-sale app. So basically there was an app that ran the entire pre-sale and everything from AML, KYC that they did for the individual pre-sale buyers to the actual KYC and AML team, right? Mm-hmm. So they used the same software to screen people and to do KYC. To resellers, and we had these, it's called, in Japanese it's called the Dairi 10. So we had the Dairi 10 was also using the system, and then we had a company that was basically handling a lot of the processing that later dissolved because regulation changed. And all of them and the individual buyers were also using the system to store their vouchers, and then later use the system to actually convert it to ADA. So the system later became a faucet for ADA. And yeah, I came in. I started managing that project. One thing led to another, and we're the top 5 cryptocurrency in the world. And it was just kind of like one of those things. Like you don't realize that it happened until it happened, and then it happens, and then you kind of still like thinking, I'm like, okay, it's probably just a fluke, and then it's not a fluke, and then you kind of your brain doesn't catch up to it fast enough.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, I'm like, 2016, that wasn't that long ago, and it's just like a totally different time. I mean, just 5 years later, 6 years later, like 100 years later, 100 years. I mean, 6 years later, 6 years ago, nobody knew who Cardano was. I mean, the only people that were obsessing about Cardano were people that are saying were scams. Like I was like, oh, there's a scam. They're the Charles is a scammer. You're working for a scammer. I'm like, yeah, fuck off. I'm not working. I know, I can tell people he's not. Charles is an eccentric guy, but he's definitely not a scammer. He's definitely a genuine, and good guy. He really means what he says. That's one thing that I can tell you about my personal interactions with him, and just being friends with him, is that he is not malicious, like a lot of these guys are. He genuinely means he says when he comes on and he does these AMAs. He doesn't shut off the video later on. I was like, oh, fuck these guys, like sick of them. I'm gonna take money, and no, never. This guy, and that's why that's why I kind of get a little defensive sometimes when people just start crapping on him. Is because, like I said, man, I mean, he's not perfect. He's a human being, but don't call the guy a scammer. Don't call the guy something, like old as shit, where you don't know how much time and energy it dedicated to this stuff. I mean, you have no idea, man. I've been there with him. It's like, it's nonstop. For him, it's nonstop. It literally goes with him like everywhere, everywhere. My work goes with me everywhere. Okay. So like, my wife constantly says, like, well, are you playing with your phone? I'm like, I'm playing with my phone. I'm working. With him, it's like 10 times. Plus, he's got this business persona and this huge social media presence. Plus, he's got a million times more things to worry about than me, as far as a company of people that he has to support. An ecosystem to build, all these things that need to come into fruition. Yeah. So just knowing this from the, from the insider's perspective, kind of makes me, and he told me himself, he's like, Dan, just don't engage the trolls. It's not worth it. It's just like it does more damage than good. It's not worth it. But I just can't help it sometimes, these people just piss me off. Like what the hell have you done with your life? What have you done?
I ask Hosky that all the time. He won't tell me. I don't know what the guy's done.
Well, at least Hosky made, Hosky, what have you done with your life?
I actually ask myself that question like almost daily. My wife also pretty much asks the same question, like, what are you doing? She's not quite sure, so I really can't answer that question. I mean, I'm doing the meme. I am, or I don't know how to answer that. What am I doing? I guess if nothing else, trying to fight the decentralization fight.
Promoting decentralization, I was going to say, yeah.
There we go. Yeah, fighting for the little guys. Like Chef.
Mr. Daniel, how do you see the decentralization, in Cardano at present, right now, and how do you see the future as well, if you don't mind?
Well, okay. I mean, it's a complex issue, right? Because there's different. Nobody's absolutely right and nobody's absolutely wrong in this. Well, once in a while there are, but most of the time it's really nuanced. It's really nuanced. I think that it is an important issue. Okay, so I mean, Hosky isn't completely useless. He does have some purpose. And the whole conversation that has been brought up about decentralization by Hosky and by Hosky's idiots, his loving idiots, is an important thing, because Cardano is our strong suit. I think is decentralization, and this has been said by several people already, including Sebastian from DC Spark.
Yep.
This is something that we really need to concentrate on. I think that right now there are different things that we need to work through. There's a balance that we need to find. And I'm glad to see that conversations are being had. People aren't, and I just said that yesterday. I'm glad that people are not sweeping things under the rug. We're not just sitting here and saying everything's fine while the house burns down around us. Everything's fine. We're the best. We're number one. And then, like later we find out that it's not, and everything just turns to shit. Yeah. We're having a conversation, we're having a debate. Sometimes it's heated. Sometimes people call each other assholes. Sometimes people stop talking to each other and get blocked, like Hosky does many, many times by many, many people. But in the end, it's going to work out. I have faith. Yep. Because I see that people aren't just being toxic. Really, these really are genuine concerns from both sides. And I just think that we just need to talk about it. I just had I had a call with Tim and Ben yesterday, and they expressed the same thing. They said, we're just we need to create. We need to talk it out. It's not going to be solved like this. It's something that it's a nuanced thing, and it needs to evolve. Because you can't just turn the centralization switch, because look, everybody's got their own incentives. You can't guilt people into doing stuff, and you can't bribe people into doing stuff. I mean, you can on a short term, but in a long term, it's not a sustainable model. A sustainable model has to be achieved where there's an equilibrium, where there is like, okay, there's enough incentive for me to stake in small pools or in single pool and single pools, and there's also incentive for me to stake in multiple pools, but the multiple pools are not having an adverse effect on single pools and vice versa. And then single pools are having an adverse effect on multi pools or large pools. So it's all about finding that middle ground, I think, and I really do believe that this community will find that middle ground. We just need to talk it out, and then don't make enemies. Bring solutions. Don't bring problems. Bring solutions. That's what I always say.
That's so important.
I'll try to work on that.
You do that.
Good luck.
So last year, 2021, you got hired as the strategic advisor to the Ergo Foundation. How did that happen?
Yep.
How did that happen, or even come to be in the first place? And then furthermore, what do you see for the future of Ergo entirely?
Well, I've had my eye on Ergo, say, for a while now, ever since they launched, I believe 2018 or 2019. Anyway, a few years ago. They've been around for a few years. And one of the things was actually internally at IOHK, we were talking about how we can, about Ergo and all the different things that Ergo is capable of, because Alex Chipornoy, he is actually an IOHK alumni. I've known him for a long time. I've known pretty much as I've known Charles, because he was always one of the top researchers in input output. He's actually known Charles even before output. He's known him for a long time and worked with him for a long time. And so I know that that Alex is a guy. He always has been. He always had these great ideas. A lot of Cardano is actually based on his research. And so I have some friends, some very close friends who are pretty heavily invested in Ergo. And so I was following them, but I wasn't really following them that close, right? Up until about maybe 6-7 months ago, maybe a little bit more, close to a year ago, I started really kind of following and what they were doing, because they were coming up with Sigma protocols and zero knowledge proofs and all this cool stuff that, privacy protocols that that I'm really interested in. And then I had a conversation with a couple of my friends, and they said, these guys are the real deal, and can you work with them somehow and maybe plug them into some of your connections to help them step up. And so I started looking more and more into Ergo, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, this is a gold mine. This is a fantastic project. They have so much potential. There's just so much utility there. There's so many tools there. It's so robustly developed for such a young project, with security in mind, with transaction speed in mind, with utility in mind, that a lot of these bigger projects just don't have. They just go there and, it's about move fast, break things to the market. And Ergo is just not like that, even though Ergo launched with all these tools already available. So they didn't launch in an era like even Cardano, where we bring different functionality online in different eras. They launched everything. They launched smart contracts, DeFi, NFTs, everything right away. And so I thought, well, look, this is a project that I really need to get involved, because I think I can actually do a lot of good to this ecosystem. And so I got in touch with Alex, and I said, hey, so I think that this is what you guys need. You guys need help with social. You guys need to have. I need more commercial help. Of course, more listings and more marketing in general. And I said, look, I can help you with these things. These are not instant things. This is not just me flipping a switch and all of a sudden you're super popular and everybody wants Ergo. It's going to take a lot of runway to do this, because there's a lot of competition out there. And this is a really brainy project. You need to figure out why Ergo. Why does their person care about Ergo? Because I can figure out a miner would care about Ergo. I understand why somebody who is really into Sigma protocols, into blockchain development and all that good stuff would care about Ergo. But the average person, you put up a billboard on the interstate, or you put up, you get a Super Bowl commercial about Ergo. What are you going to tell them? Hey, we have Sigma protocols. Okay, and what? We have NFT. Yes, so there's everybody else. So you can't really market it in the standard way, and so there has to be a story there. Right? You have to make it into a movie. You have to have your lead roles. You have to have your supporting roles. You have to have a plot. You have to have a narrative. And all these things need to be developed. And so I had this conversation with Alex, and he says, yeah, if you can help us out, that would be awesome. And so after that, I met with Joe Arminio, or as we call him, Pretty Boy Joe, right, Hosky?
That's right, PB&J.
PB&J, yeah, PB&J, because he is much better looking than me. He's also younger, and he lives in the mountains with bears and all that junk. And so one thing led to another. I sent a proposal out to the Ergo Foundation, and they decided, they wanted me to be a strategic advisor for Ergo. And I didn't have to say it like fast 3 times, because I can't even say it right once. Strategic advisor. I was like, strategic advisor. That's what it sounds like when I say it.
Speaking of the Ergo ecosystem, how's the meme ecosystem over on the Ergo chain? We know that's also a niche that most chains have to fill somehow.
The meme ecosystem. Well, there are some good memes, I would say. I think we need more memes. I know you've been picking on Ergo, and I'll see you after school in the playground about that. Yeah, but I think the meme game, it could be better. We can get more spicy with the memes, but we're getting there. There's some good stuff coming out of the ecosystem, I think, and I think we'll evolve even better.
Do you have any big players in the meme game?
Well, I guess what our premier meme coin is Comet, your nemesis.
Right. Why is so on the Comet train? Since we're on it now, why are they so salty lately? What's going on over there?
Oh, they're not salty. They're just spicy. They're probably from New York.
Hey,
hey.
That guy's from New
York. What are you talking about?
I think you just
about it.
I think you just offended him. And I guess I'll add one last question. What are your thoughts on projects that buy followers on Twitter? Comment.
Buy followers. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, look, it is great project, great success, have lot of potential, team very good, roadmap very good, roadmap very good. It is godsend project, very good roadmap. I think the Comet. Comet is really trying. They're trying to kind of expand their ecosystem. They got the NFTs now, even though they're completely useless cash grabs, as you have proven. They got the memes and they got the Discord. The thing about it is, that's the problem with the NFT game right now. Anytime you say NFT, is just like anytime you say Yoroi wallet on Twitter. You got 50,000 different bots coming at you. It's like, oh yeah, so I had the same problem. Why don't you write this dude in the Google form? And I just think that
I will give Comic credit on the fact that they do have way more memes than Hosky does. Their Telegram is flooded with memes every single day. I've been there since early on, and I will give credit to Comment on the memes. They definitely out meme us. So you heard it here first. Comment better for memes than Hosky. Go to them. Stay away from us.
Wow.
We will up the game now that Chef became a rag pool as well. We will up the meme game for
Chef's
sure.
got some meme. Chef's got some meme in him. So he doesn't only just cook food. He cooks some memes.
Yeah, along with the Cardano army, Justin and Mike, and the rest of the gang, of course. Yeah.
We'll power those memes.
It's getting spicy over here.
Yeah,
It's getting
he doesn't just cook food; he can cook. Ba-dum-bum.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. Yeah.
Wink.
I cannot cook McDonald's, Mr. Daniel, but we'll see what we're gonna do for you.
Okay. Well, listen. When I'm there in Canada or wherever you are, I think you're in Canada,
Vancouver,
right?
Vancouver, Canada. Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah. Yeah. When I'm in Canada, I'm gonna have a cheat day on my diet, and I will stuff face with all that stuff that you tease me with half across the world.
I will send you lots of boxes.
Person,
I will come to Japan one day because it's one of my dreams to visit. So you'll get lots of treats when that happens.
All right. They call your kind an enabler.
Yes.
In the in the AA program.
If you could have anything in the whole world, what do you want Chef to make you?
Yeah.
Anything. Well, what would it be?
Gyros, Greek gyros.
He's talking about this. Leo's been talking about this for a while.
The answer is white rice.
Me.
All the
You're
gyros
killing
we
me.
have here are trash. He says all these gyros we have are fake. It's the maddest I've ever seen Theo. Is when they talk about the
I saw the
American
pictures
gyros.
he posted. He posted the pictures and they looked amazing.
Yeah,
but I still think he should make you some white rice.
I'll throw some in there just so we don't throw him too much.
The only white rice I want to see is the kind that gets thrown at a wedding. Any other white rice, I'm cool with that. My wife loves it, okay, but she actually is the opposite with her, because I was eating a lot of bread and potatoes and stuff, and one day she just broke down. She's like, "I'm Japanese, I need rice, okay?" So I'm like, just make your rice. It's okay, make your rice. I'm not gonna eat it, but you can have rice. Because she couldn't handle all the bread and potatoes. I need rice. I need white rice. I'm Japanese, I'm like, yeah, I noticed that.
There's certain cultural foods that you can't live without. Like I can't live without beans. I'm Mexican. It's in me. It's in the blood. It just comes natural.
I'm just gonna say we've got two exclusive, more hints for Hosky, Mexican and married so far on this interview.
Right.
He's
I mean,
almost
I'm not.
doxed. He's
I just don't
50%
want to show my.
doxed.
Do you guys want me to DM you my ID? I mean,
No,
you
no,
can do
no,
that
no,
if you
no,
would
no,
like.
No, we don't need your
We don't even want
help. We'll dox you.
Mexican. He's Mexican. He's married. He's 14, and he's probably
14.
a male.
Yeah, we'll
I
just
like-
make it up. We'd rather you not tell us.
My favorite part
This-
is how sure Daniel is that he's 14.
He's
That's
positive.
the
Oh, he
one
knows
thing
it.
you know.
Can we like hire a sketch artist to like draw me out based on like the facts that people have heard?
So we have a huge cross section of Cardano and Ergo fans right in this community. There's a huge crossover. So Dan, I think it would be really good if you could, because we actually get this question quite often. How does Ergo complement Cardano and vice versa? What space do they share in the space? What are some things that you think maybe one does better than the other? If you could do some compare and contrast, and kind of clarify that for us.
Right. So, well, one of the biggest similarities is the accounting model. They're both EUTXO. So both settle transactions in the same way, both get the same amount of FUD. It's like, oh, you don't get enough transactions. It's like, but what's inside the transaction that matters. If you have a bunch of transactions, 50,000 transactions a second, 49,000 of them are votes. Who gives a crap that you have 50,000 transactions? I mean, it's all about what's inside transaction, how many outputs you have. That's what matters. So that's the main one of the main similarities. And of course, it's where it came from. I mean, it came from Alex and his team. And Alex is a Cardano and input-output alumni, and so a lot of this, the quality of the code, the quality of research behind it is all really just really on the same level, I think. Now the differences obviously are in the consensus protocol itself. One is proof of work, one is proof of stake, right? So proof of stake, you have a totally different type of ecosystem. You got stake pools like you guys, you got delegators, different types of setup, different type of equipment that's needed. And just the way the ecosystem works is different, right? With proof of work, it's obviously the older system. Now, the cool thing about Ergo and their proof of work is it's a really fair and low barrier of entry proof of work system. So versus something like Ethereum or Bitcoin, where you need to spend literally hundreds of thousands of dollars to have a profitable mining operation. With Ergo, it's literally so accessible and the barrier of entry is so low that you can repurpose old equipment to mine Ergo, like an old laptop. Something that has 4 gigabytes of memory can mine Ergo. And it's really just not resource intensive at all. So it's actually really easy to make things really profitable. And which is why there's a lot of projects out there that are actually mining Ergo alongside of other proof of work coins, because it's just so easy on resources that you can do other stuff with that system. You don't have to have a dedicated system just to mine Ergo. In fact, there's people that have gaming laptops, they will mine Ergo and play games on the same laptop.
Wow.
So really, really low barrier of entry, really cheap to get into. The ecosystem is also, example, transaction costs are super cheap. It's a fraction of a penny. The NFTs, say, Hawk, for example, wants to make some more cash grab NFTs. Well, in Ergo, an NFT costs something like 1 cent to mint.
Ooh.
Wow, I was not aware of that actually.
That's actually, it's one of the best things for Ergo. I actually have here's more info about Hosky. I actually have an NFT collection on Ergo myself. It was a project that I was doing before Hosky. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody knows who what that project is. But that's one of the beautiful things about Ergo. It's so low cost of entry for artists that you don't have to worry about hiring a developer and being able to get started. You can actually do it for pennies, which on Cardano it's actually still fairly reasonable. It's a couple dollars, but if you want to get your feet wet with NFTs, Ergo is definitely the best place to get started, because you can learn more about NFTs. You can learn more about the proper code that you can give your NFTs. Again, I'm not technical, but the 721 that kind of it has all the data for the NFT. So it's a really good place for any up and coming artist to get some practice with NFTs, and they're not breaking you. You can do a lot with one Ergo on Ergo.
Yeah, and also another really cool part of the Ergo ecosystem is that you can then use the assets that you minted to buy things in the ecosystem, because there's so many things that you can do in the ecosystem, the different products and services that you can actually use the minted Ergo to buy. For example, NFTs, or join landing platforms, join raffles, things like that. This is actually one of the reasons why I'm building a good portion of the product that I'm building right now on Ergo, is because a lot of the system that I'm going to be building is going to be in a utility NFT driven. So it's not going to be, JPEGs.
PNGs.
It's
PNGs.
Yeah, PNG. Yeah, PNGs. Okay. Yeah. It's going to be utility driven. It's going to be utility NFTs that are actually to be part of a larger system, and that was going to act as kind of a genesis.
So you're
for the
building a
system.
project?
I am building one. I am. I'm going to make an explainer video about it, because I've been teasing it for a little while, but I haven't really explained everything that I'm doing. The reason being is that I'm still fleshing out the slide decks and the messaging, so that it's not, because in my mind it makes sense, but when I tell somebody else about it, they say like, okay, that's a lot of stuff. So what I'm going to be doing in the next few weeks, I'm going to be making an explainer video for the community and for anybody who's interested, about what the project is about, where it's heading, what the core idea behind it is, and I already have some really good partners lined up. I have a couple of really, really exciting leads on implementation. So again, all this stuff is going to be coming out probably next month. And I really think that, although it has to be cross-platform. I'm going to stay within the EUTXO Alliance. I would like to do as much as I can on Ergo. There's going to be, of course, Cardano involved in this as well. In general, it's going to be a cross-platform system, mostly focusing on Ergo. that will kind of give, I hope that'll give the Ergo ecosystem a boost in just the transaction volume and utility that I think that they deserve. So actually another difference that I was thinking about with proof of work versus proof of stake and Ergo versus Cardano is with proof of work, and the reason why Ergo decided to go with proof of work, a lot of the work as far as security, as far as behavior, different scenarios, attack vectors, things like that have already been explored with proof of work. So they built on top of what was already explored. They have more definition about privacy, more definition about security that still needs to be carved out with proof of stake, because proof of stake is just so much newer. This is what Cardano is doing. We're actually doing the research that needs to be done to make these systems viable, instead of just forking Bitcoin or forking Ethereum or doing an L2 on top of Ethereum or whatever, and just saying, oh, look, you can do more stuff on this, which is okay, but it's not very novel. But with Cardano, what you have is a lot of this, a lot more, it's a path being carved through the jungle that has not been before. So that's also another big difference between the two projects.
Wow, that's amazing. Let's talk a little bit more about the projects that are built on Ergo. Such as like the Ergo Mixer, or if you want to tell us a little bit about the Ergonauts, and like there's 12,000 NFTs already. I'm sorry, tokens that, NFTs that have been issued on Ergo. So how do you see the involvement and how fast they go, and could they do something better? Could you do something better to make things?
Yeah, well, so there are several really cool projects on Ergo. Joe, Pretty Boy Joe, and I do a show called Ergo Pulse every month to showcase these projects. There's ErgoPad, there's ErgoLend, there's GetBlock, because not everything on Ergo is named Ergo something. Hosky.
You beat me to it.
I know what you're yeah. I know what you're gonna say. I know. I heard it. I heard. And for example, tokens are super easy to mint on Ergo, because Ergo actually has native assets, just like Cardano. It's literally, they have a website you go to, you say, I want to mint a token, I want to call it this, I want the supply to be this, put in some extra details in there, whatever you want, and bam, it's done. I mean, it's simple. It's very simple. Now, what is the drawback of Ergo? I think the main drawback is communication with the average person. Like the average person, why should they care? A lot of the Ergo stuff speaks to developers. It speaks to people who are already blockchain savvy, but it doesn't speak enough to people who are just tourists, and they'd like to know, why do I care? How is it different from Bitcoin? And not get this super complex three-path answer. Why is Cardano different from Bitcoin? Well, there are a lot of different reasons why, which we all know. But why is Ergo different from Bitcoin? Well, that's a tougher question, because these things, it's a lot more nuanced. It's a lot closer, but still, it's what Charles calls the spiritual successor to Bitcoin, because of the way things are done on Ergo, which are upgrades. The way Bitcoin is doing, it's scalable. It's got smart contracts. It's got, I got my cat here. That's the cat.
That's the cat.
And
And they actually have a
so
person that they could speak to. There's an actual team of people there, not some person no one's ever heard of or knows.
Yeah, it's just all about communication. It's all about the message which is what I've been working on with the team to really clarify and to get out there. This is why when I started with Ergo, one of my first actions was to create weekly AMAs so that people actually know who's behind it, what's going on with the ecosystem. It's out there, it's on YouTube, it's on Twitter. We fixed some of the messaging with the Ergo Foundation Twitter. Joe and I are doing the monthly show, also show about to make people understand what's happening in the Ergo ecosystem. And there's going to be more. There's going to be educational materials coming. There's going to be website brand that's going to happen probably in the next couple of weeks because we're pretty close to finishing it up. And just in general, the materials need to be more digestible. That's what I think. There's a lot of materials out there. There's a lot of documentation about Ergo and about all different things in Ergo. But what I found is, and this is a common thing in the blockchain space, a lot of these materials are not made for the average person. They're made for people who know something about something. And we shouldn't assume that. We shouldn't assume if we want to have more mainstream adoption, we shouldn't assume that people will know what a Sigma protocol is. People will know the difference between token and coin. Hosky, who breaks people's balls about that.
We got to educate the people. If people are going to do beams right, they got to at least follow the proper naming procedure. Glad you covered the Ergo portion. I'm happy about that. I do want to ask a question though. In my quest to take over the world with memes, are there any plans for cross-chain interoperability between Ergo and Cardano that I can use to take my token over to Ergo?
Yeah, well, there is actually a Cardano Ergo bridge that is pretty much done, I think. Well, not done, but very close to being done right now. A trustless bridge that you can use to work between the two ecosystems. I myself also am planning to build a utility driven trustless bridge that's going to work between Cardano, Ergo, and other partners in the EUTXO ecosystem. And I'm calling this product Transwarp Drive.
Yeah,
because that's from Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I like it. Does it support fecal coins?
Fecal coins.
Bullish Dumpling came up with that name.
I'm
credit to her.
not as proper as Dumpling, or as I constantly call her Dumping. I did not do that on purpose. I just realized that after she yelled at me. She's like, "Dan,
Biggest
why
mistake.
do you keep doing like?" Wait, yeah, because I do a lot of messaging at like 3:00 in the morning, which when I shouldn't. But that's the life I've chosen, and I'll just message people, and then I wake up in the morning like, shit. And they already seen it. I can't like undelete, or I can't, exchange things. It's a disaster.
Calling a nice lady dumping. That's, tell her how you really think, Dan.
That's pretty bad.
You're not mean.
That is pretty bad.
There's other people that would be okay with you calling that, but like Dumpling, she's like the nicest person I've ever met.
Yeah.
I know. She's basically our role model for what we could be like in this ecosystem. And instead of being all defensive and clawing each other's necks, which was what happens sometimes. I myself try to be really just not try to unload on people in the ecosystem, because I figure that this ecosystem is like family. So you can't, I'm not really going to dump on people here unless they're being malicious. Yeah, but I do get pretty combative with with people from that come from other ecosystems, and it really sounds really cultish, doesn't it? Come from other ecosystems. We got to cut that shit out. Just people who come into our community. It also kind of sounds cultish. Anyway, well, you get what I'm saying. That come and just shit and everything, and they just do that all day long just to shit on everything, and there's no real purpose. And then on top of that, they'll shill some other coin or token that might be good, but you know what? To me, it's just really. There's a couple of coins there that I was interested in, but because of just the abrasiveness that came from the ecosystem and started crapping on Cardano, I'm just kind of like, I feel dirty. I mean, I need to get over that because I want to work with that ecosystem as well, but I feel dirty. It just doesn't. I mean, what's the deal here, people? What are you 12 like Hosky?
Oh, he's 12 now. He lost a couple of years.
Wow, I went from 14 to 12. I'm not even a teenager now.
Okay, well, 12 is sort of a teenager, but anyway. Okay, 14. What are you, 14 Hosky? Yeah. Dumpling though, she's the hero we all need. I think at point. She's
so the answer is
yes.
I can spread my dominion over to other networks with your tool, is what you're telling me. You are enabling me. You're giving me utility.
Yes, you can spread your shit dominion across other projects. Yes.
You heard it here. Ergosky is coming.
Yes.
That's so cool. Well, like I don't know, man. Did Gnomski's intend to sound like foreskin? Because that's what I think of whenever I see that name.
It was Foe's idea. Okay, he's the guy from Ergo. It was Hosky plus gnomes, and we went with Gnomskis, like Hosky, but Nomies, homies. Gnomskis.
It was almost Ergosky.
Yeah, I mean, we could have put Erg in front of it. Would that have made you happier?
Or Dansky?
Yeah, but Ergowski sounds like some former general secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. Comrade Ergowski.
We're there to take over, man.
My dear comrades, I am.
That
Comrade
sounds like an Ergonaut right there.
Ergonauts are just rip off space buds, right?
That's why I asked yesterday, does Ergo go with vodka? Because that's the first thing I think about, because the Ergonauts are a lot of them. Well, there's actually a lot of Americans, but a lot of the dev team are Russians. So it's either the guys that you get are either like, we are Ergo, or you get broken English Middle Eastern dudes like, I am really upset, sir. I'm really upset, sir. When Ergo $10, when Ergo $50, I really upset, sir. I have 3 Ergo. I need to retire.
You forgot the awkward mms in between.
I was gonna say that, yeah.
Well, no, that's we're not gonna go there. Let's not go there. We're not gonna hurt anybody's feelings today. Yeah,
okay.
I'm only here to hurt your feelings.
Right. Many members of the community are multilingual. That's actually a good thing. I think that's a good thing to have. Is a lot of people in both Ergo and Cardano, they're not all from the US. They don't all speak just English. I would dare say that it's the ones that are very limited that only speak English. I don't know how many of you guys here speak other languages, but I know Dan does. I think Simon probably, yeah. So, yep, I speak Spanish. So, it's okay. The community's big. The community's all over the world. So we're not going to clown on anybody for having an accent or, having to think through the words before they say them. We've all been there before.
I wanted to ask you about all the Greek community that you have working. We have working on IOHK, IOG, because you have a lot of Greek people working there, eh?
Yeah, we actually we do have quite a few Greek people working at IOG. We do have a Leonidas, we do have a Costas, and We do have some other Constantinopoulos plus. Everybody's name ends with an S.
Yes, of course.
And actually, I spent my honeymoon in Corfu, so I have a pretty good connection to Greece. And we went through waves at IOHK or input output. So we went through our Russian wave where everybody was Russian, that everybody was getting hired was Russian. Then we went through a Greek wave because we had a former Greek COO that hired a bunch of Greeks, and so we still have a lot of Greeks in the company. Then we had what was it, an Irish wave, so we got a bunch of Irish people because we had a former executive that was Irish, still is Irish, I guess, that hired a bunch of Irish guys and gals, and who are great people, and so they stayed with the company even though she moved on. So we do have quite a few Greeks, but actually, I maybe I'll leave this off with a little story about Greece, really quick. So my wife and I went to Corfu, and so some people who speak Greek will probably get some of these things because you speak Greek. But so those of us who don't speak Greek, we rented a scooter in Corfu just to drive around the island because it's not that big of an island. So we were trying to go to Corfu town. That was supposed to be like 15 minutes away from the village, and all the villages are Agios, whatever. Agios Gordas, Agios something, because I guess Agios means village, right?
Agios, it's saint. So it's Agios George.
So it doesn't mean village. Okay, it doesn't mean village.
It means
but everything
saint.
is Agios something. Yeah, Agios something.
We love to name our everything, with saint names, or everything has to do with all that.
And so we take the scooter, and of course I got no cell phone coverage there, and I don't have Google Maps or anything like that. We take this map, and on this map, and it's not even like a real map, it's one of those tourist maps that is not to scale. And so trying to see through this map how to get to Corfu town. And so riding the scooter, following the map, riding the scooter, going all around. And that's my cat here. Get your ass away. And so we're driving around and around, and we keep seeing the sign that says Kirkira. And in Japanese, Kirkira means like sparkly. And so we keep driving past the sign, and I drive for like an hour and end up next to that sign again. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, there's no other roads. How do we? And then we just like, oh, there's Kirkira again. There's Kirkira again. So then, and then we finally stop at this restaurant, and we just say, hey, listen, try to get to Corfu town. Like, oh, it's just down the road here. Where? We've been driving around for like 45 minutes. Yeah, well, just where it says Kirkira. I'm like, you mean Kirkira? He's like, yeah, it means Corfu town in Greek. Like, oh, well, shit. Why don't you just everything is in English and Greek except for Corfu town that's just written in Greek.
Yeah.
Like, thanks a lot. So we finally, we're like, okay. Well, we finally figured out where Corfu town is. So let's take the scenic route. So we went over the mountain, right? So there's like a mountain, like a couple of mountains in the middle of Corfu. So, and I figured, it's going to take us like an hour because like on the other side of the island, right, from where we were. So we take it, we go up the mountain, and we're riding, and it gets pretty woody, and I'm starting to run out of gas. And so I stop at this gas station with this old lady, and so I stop at the gas station. This old lady comes out, this Greek old lady with the thing, and really, really Greek looking. and the headscarf, you know. And she comes out, and so I ask her, excuse me, is this the way to Corfu Town? Ah, yes, Corfu Town, yes. Like, okay, so is it far? Yes, far. Yes. Like, well, how far is it? I mean, I thought we're pretty close. Oh, yes, close. Yes.
She didn't understand a word you asked her, a word you said.
Yeah. Is it so? So how many kilometers is it? Oh, yes, many kilometers. Yes, how many kilometers? Like, oh, okay. She doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about, does she?
No.
Yeah, because everything's like, oh, yes. It's the Corfu Town. Yes. You die now. She didn't say that, but that's my Corfu story. That's my Greek story. And so yeah, Greek people will always have a special place in my heart.
Instead of going to the beach and enjoy the sun and a cocktail or a beer, you just went to the mountains. Like, what? Why would you do that?
I like to live dangerously.
Yes,
like Austin Powers.
I see that.
We did end up going to the beach, though. It was nice. It was nice. We went going to the beach, and then we had all this fun over there. But we still talk about that. We still talk about kira.
Yes, yeah. I mean, working with Charles and the whole, in IHKIG. You're definitely living a dangerous life for sure on a daily basis.
Yeah, well, it's the life that I've done, and for better or for worse, it's I feel like I'm making a difference, ish.
We definitely all thank you. The whole community really, loves the work and everything IOG and you especially do. Since we're talking with you.